I'd like to call this meeting to order.
Yours. Is there two? Oh, good.
Would the clerk please read the statement, please?
This is a meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Vernon for Monday, July 28, 2014. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided to the public and the press on January 8, 2014, and was posted at the bulletin board in the municipal building in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-7.
Please call the roll.
Councilmember Cadish?
Here.
Councilmember Murphy?
Here.
Councilmember Rizzuto?
Here.
Councilmember Wetzel?
Here.
Council President Lynch?
Here. You all join me with the salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May I have a motion to open the floor to public comments?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Councilmember Wetzel. Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Cadish. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? The floor is open. Anyone wish to speak?
Good evening, Gary Martinson, Vernon. First, I'm happy to see the Narcan resolution on there. I know you guys have discussed it quite a bit, and there's been a lot of stuff in the press about it, so that's good. I can't read it yet, but I'm sure it's for the initiative for it, which is great. The second thing I wanted to talk about was, while I realize that there, depending on who you ask, there may or may not be a petition submitted for Camp Sussex and stuff, and I realize that there's I don't want to talk about buying it or not, but I have found some other things that I might think be of interest to the mayor and so the council, so I thought I'd present those. It was stated once that there are no wells on the property, that it uses the lake water. It did use lake water, but according to a site engineering plan that we've got from 2001, supposedly there are several wells. One's on the one piece of property, but it appears, though it may not be, it can't be verified, especially by me because I can't go there, that there's one near the pump station which would have pulled the water out of the lake. Another thing is, I would just want to remind people that it's a summer camp, or was a summer camp, so the buildings were never set up for year-round heating and stuff, including the protection of the pipes. Part of the reason why they had the water drain system was because everything would drain back. Another thing we found on the engineering drawing that we thought was very important is there's a 20-foot easement right in the center of the property, and it cuts across the area that would look like it would be where you would put your groves, and it wraps around the one side of the property. Then there's the, is there a dam, isn't there a dam issue? I believe it's partly because of the classification, as the mayor presented, of the height and whether or not you really consider it a dam and what it holds true to being a dam. Now, the engineering plan that we have doesn't show it as a dam, or it doesn't register it as a dam. However, it does show brooks on the property, right through the central area, okay, and we'll get to that in a second. Now, as far as the dam, again, if you go to the Highlands maps, the interactive maps, it says Glenwood Lake Dam, and it shows it at the end. It doesn't show the specific dam, but it's listed as a dam. Also, and this is why we wanted to bring the brook up again, according to New Jersey State trout fishing guidelines, Glenwood Lake Dam and the brook are part of the state trout fishing. So you might want to take that into consideration. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak? Seeing that no other members of the public are wishing to come forward, may I have a motion to close public comments?
Move.
Motion made by Councilmember Rizzuto. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Wetzel. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? At this time, I'd like to ask Chief Randy Mills, Officer Miranda Meter, and her family, with Mayor Murata, to come forward.
solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and to the governments established in the United States
and to the government established in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
I do further solemnly affirm
I do further solemnly affirm
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties
perform all the duties
as police officer
as police officer
of the Township of Vernon,
of the Township of Vernon,
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Congratulations, Miranda.
Thank you.
We'll continue with the mayor's report now.
Yes, and I only have one item that I'd like to report to the council, and that is, this past week, as you know, we put to bid the $2,066,000 bond anticipation note, authorized by ordinance 14-12, and the bid results were as such. The winner, the low bidder, was TD Securities, and the interest rate we will be paying on that money is 0.499%. That's less than 0.5%. I would say that we did quite well. So I wanted the council and the public both to know that, and that completes my report.
Okay, good job. Any questions for the mayor? Moving on to the consent agenda. Before we get started, I'd like to remove Resolution 128 and also Resolution 124. But first, we're going to go with Resolution 14-110, the renewal of the liquor license in Vernon Township for 2014-2015 licensing term. Each year, all liquor licenses in the state of New Jersey expire on June 30th. In addition to other requirements, holders of the liquor licenses must make an application to the municipality for their license's renewal. As in the case here, licenses that have been inactive require a special approval from the Alcoholic Beverage Control. Before they are renewed, and once approved by the ABC, the municipality then approves their renewal via a resolution in accordance with NJSA 33-1. This resolution renews liquor license for Mountain Creek Beverage Corporation. Resolutions 14-111 through 14-116. When a veteran is declared 100% permanently disabled by the Department of Veterans Affairs, property owned by that veteran is exempt from taxation. Resolution 14-111 through 14-116 cancel taxes on properties owned by 100% permanently disabled veterans. Similar to the Resolution 14-117 through 14-121, similar to the above resolutions, 14-111 through 14-116 provide refunds to those 100% permanent disabled veterans who have already paid taxes on the property that was exempt. Resolution 14-122, authorizing the tax exemption for the township-owned property, NJSA 54:4.3 allows municipalities to exempt from taxation properties owned by the township. This resolution exempts Block 200.10, Lot 26, which is 552 Grandview Drive, which was acquired by the township on March 4th, 2014. Resolution 14-123, authorizing the award of the contract for the Vernon DPW building roof replacement. In April, the township solicited bids for the replacement of the roof on the DPW building. On May 8th, the township opened the bids. This resolution authorizes the contract to be awarded to the lowest responsible bidder for the project, Zytone Construction. Resolution 14-124, supporting an initiative to allow police officers and EMTs to carry and to administer the life-saving heroin antidote Narcan, naloxone hydrochloride. Narcan is utilized to help persons suffering from heroin overdose to recover quickly. The township, along with Sussex County Prosecutor, has been working for some time now towards the training of police officers for the use of Narcan, as well as distributing Narcan packets to the officers. Under the direction of Chief Randy Mills, the township's officers will be receiving training on the use of Narcan in August or September. This resolution supports the Sussex County Prosecutor's Office and the Vernon Township Police Department in their implementation of the Narcan program that has been in the process for quite some time now. Resolution 14-125, authorizing the use of the Morris County Co-op contract number 15C to purchase one 2015 Ford F-150 4x4 extended cab XLE for the Department of Public Works. The Department of Public Works has a need for a pickup truck, and the cost of which was included in the ordinance 14-12. This resolution authorizes the purchase of a 2015 Ford pickup through the use of the Morris County Co-op. 14-126, a resolution authorizing the award of contract for a GPS system for the township vehicles. The Department of Public Works has a need for a GPS monitoring and tracking of township vehicles to ascertain where the assets are on the ground. This resolution authorizes the purchase of the GPS tracking system through the Verizon Telematics under the new Network Fleet Federal Supply Schedule. Resolution 14-127, authorizing the appointment of a qualified purchasing agent. A township that has a qualified purchasing agent is entitled to increase the bid threshold to $36,000, as opposed to $17,500 without a QPA. Having a higher bid threshold saves the township time and money, as the township does not have to go through the formal bid process for smaller purchases. This resolution authorizes Jen Roos to be the QPA for the Township of Vernon. We look forward to her years of service. Resolution 14-129, opposing the expansion of the federal control under Clean Water Act. The U.S. EPA and the Army Corps of Engineers has released a draft regulation under the Clean Water Act that will expand the definition of navigable waters. The new rule change would subject any water, including ponds, ditches, that have connection to downstream navigable waters as under the jurisdiction of the federal government. This resolution opposes the proposed rule change. Resolution 14-130, and I think that anybody that lives in Highland Lakes will be happy to hear this. A resolution requesting the federal and/or state grant funding to address the single-lane underpass roadway on Canisteo Road. Canisteo Road in the township of West Milford becomes a single-lane road under the New York, Susquehanna, and Western Railway train trestle. This resolution requests that our legislators seek funding to expand the roadway for safety purposes. May I have a motion to adopt resolutions 14-110 through 14-130, excluding resolution 14-128?
Motion.
Motion made by Councilmember Murphy. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Kadesh. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Kadesh?
Yes.
Councilmember Murphy?
Yes.
Councilmember Rizzuto?
Yes.
Councilmember Wetzel?
Yes.
Council President Lynch?
Yes.
Motion carries.
With regards to Resolution 128, I'm going to read this, and then John has a comment for us tonight. Authorizing the execution of a contract between the Township of Vernon and the Vernon Township Board of Education for the purchase of Block 141, Lot 12-01 and 13. The Board of Education has leased out for the past several years the building located at 294 Route 94, which is currently being used by the Historic Society. At this time, the Board of Education no longer has use of this building and would like to transfer ownership to the township for the sum of $1. This resolution authorizes the township to sign a contract for the purchase of that property. John?
So attached to your agenda tonight is the actual draft of the contract to purchase this building from the school board. Consider later in the agenda the introduction of the ordinance that would authorize the township to complete this contract. I'm envisioning that the reason that you have a resolution on is so that the contract can get signed and the process can start. What I would suggest is if you decide to adopt this resolution, we should be sure that the contract has a clause inserted that makes it contingent upon the ordinance passing. And it's a little safeguard, because if you enter into this contract, the contract can't be completed until the ordinance is fully adopted and becomes law. So it's just a nuance, but that should be included in the resolution.
Can I have a motion to include,
Motion.
okay, motion made by Councilmember Murphy. Second?
I'll second the motion.
Second by Councilmember Rizzuto. To include,
To include a contingency that the ordinance passes before the closing takes place.
okay. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Kadesh?
Yes.
Councilmember Murphy?
Yes.
Councilmember Rizzuto?
Yes.
Councilmember Wetzel?
Yes.
Council President Lynch?
Yes. Okay, right now we have introduction. This is the first reading of proposed ordinance, ordinance 14-15, an ordinance to authorize the acquisition of real property and capital improvements located at 294 Route 94, Block 141, lots 1201 and 13. As previously discussed, the Board of Education has a desire to sell the property located at 294 Route 94. Since the Board of Education no longer has the building, has use of the building, and would like to transfer ownership to Township Vernon for the sum of $1. The ordinance authorizes the township to accept the deed for the property. May I have a motion to introduce ordinance 14-15 with a public hearing to be held on August 11th, 2014?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilmember Rizzuto. Can I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Councilmember Wetzel seconds. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Kadesh?
Yes.
Councilmember Murphy?
Yes.
Councilmember Rizzuto?
Yes.
Councilmember Wetzel?
Yes.
Council President Lynch?
Yes.
Motion carries to introduce ordinance 1415 with a public hearing on August 11th.
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is the public hearing, the second reading of an ordinance, ordinance 1414, an ordinance to amend the Township Ordinance 1405. The Building Department has found that an ATV-type vehicle is better suited for their purposes rather than purchasing a pickup truck, which was authorized under 1405. This ordinance amends 1405 to allow the purchase of the ATV vehicle. May I have a motion to open the floor to the public hearing for ordinance 1414?
I'll make
Mr.
the
President, you may recall from the, excuse me, you weren't here at the last meeting. The ATV was a misprint. It should be SUV. Right.
Correct, it's stated in the ordinance.
The ordinance states ATV or SUV?
It says
SUV.
SUV four-wheel type automobile,
Exactly.
as suggested by Mr. Speaker.
I just wanted to be sure.
Okay. SUV-type vehicle. The motion to open the floor to the, for a public hearing made by Councilmember Rizzuto and seconded by Councilmember Wetzel. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The floor is open. Anybody wish to speak? May I have a motion to close the public hearing of ordinance 1414?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilmember Kadesh. Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Rizzuto. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
May I have a motion to adopt ordinance 1414?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilmember Kadesh and second by
I'll second.
Councilmember Wetzel. Any comments by council? Please call the roll.
Councilmember Kadesh?
Yes.
Councilmember Murphy?
Yes.
Councilmember Rizzuto?
Yes.
Councilmember Wetzel?
Yes.
Council President Lynch?
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt ordinance 1414
For an SUV,
for an SUV.
We had a
the
discussion.
building
at a-
department's
Yeah, why-
four-wheeling all over town now. Okay. At this point, we are up to a council appointment for the MUA, and I'd like our council to explain what this is about.
So I think the question is, that I think has been reviewed here before, that you have ordinances in town that created some question as to who had the power to appoint members of the MUA. And I think your ordinances say that the mayor would. In some research that came up recently, the utility law directs that in most towns, with some exceptions, most towns, the council appoints members of the MUA. And so in a conflict between a statute and an ordinance, statutes win. And so,
I believe it's 590 that explicitly says the council does that.
okay, and I only know from the statute side, and in any case, the statute would control.
Right.
So at this point, we have two members of the MUA that are alternates. And I think that the way these things materialize is that the alternate gets moved up to a full member. Number one alternate would be Mr. Roy Tansfield. So, can I have a motion for that, please?
And it would be to fill the unexpired term.
The
that was
unexpired term,
vacated.
right. It's not for an extended period, it's
It's
only
not
to
for a
fill.
new term.
Right.
It's for the unexpired term of the member who resigned.
Then may I have a motion to move Roy Tansfield to full
So
member
moved.
to expire, to fill the unexpired term? Councilmember Kadesh?
When does it expire? Do you know when the term
December.
Good point, I
expires?
don't know.
What is it?
Is he
Gene?
filling Barbara Forzepa's?
Yes.
'Cause hers could be expiring soon. 2015, February 2015?
May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Rizzuto. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Kadesh?
Yes.
Councilmember Murphy?
Yes.
Councilmember Rizzuto?
Yes.
Councilmember Wetzel?
Question. Does Mrs. Pfeiffer now move up to post position number one?
I believe that we have to take action on that.
Okay.
So the alternate slots are their own alternate slots.
Right.
So in the absence, she'll be the first alternate by default, because there is no alternate number one, or you could move her into that alternate number one slot.
Okay.
Needless to say, she would be the only alternate, and she would be voting regardless if there were no other members available.
Yes.
Yeah, okay?
Council President Lynch?
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt.
And by default, I'd like to make a motion to move Phyllis Pfeiffer to the alternate number one spot.
So moved.
Motion made by Councilmember Rizzuto. Can I have a second, please?
Second?
Second by Councilmember Wetzel. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Kadesh?
Yes.
Councilmember Murphy?
Question, does she now take over Roy Tanfield's unexpired term?
She would.
Okay. Yes.
Councilmember Rizzuto?
Yes.
Councilmember Wetzel?
Yes.
Council President Lynch?
Yes.
Motion carries to move the alternate one.
Okay. Before we I'm going to speak first. I'm sorry to the council members, but I have something to bring up for business, actually. Earlier this week, earlier last month, rather, we received a letter from the New Jersey Conservation Foundation. And in this letter, they asked us to support a dual appraisal bill, A 3058 and S 1050, which would amend the current law to extend the expiration date for the special appraisal process for state-funded land acquisitions under the Green Acres and the Farmland Preservation Program from June 30th, 2014 to June 30th, 2019 for lands located in the Highlands region. Earlier this year, on, I believe it is April 28th, Vernon Township led the way for these bills to start the process. And unanimously, Vernon Township passed Resolution 14-69 to support of the water tax to fund the loss of land equity for property owners in the Highlands region. At this point, I would like to ask approval from the council to join with me to direct the mayor to send a letter to the governor, our senator, assembly representatives, and to Chairman Jim Riley of the New Jersey Highlands Council, reiterating our unanimous support of this. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Councilmember Rizzuto. Can I have a second? I'll second it. Are there any questions? Please call the roll.
Councilmember Kaden?
Yes.
Councilmember Murphy?
Yes.
Councilmember Rizzuto?
Yes.
Councilmember Wetzel?
Yes.
Council President Lynch?
Yes. Mayor, would you please, at your earliest convenience,
Certainly.
and anybody else that'll listen. Also, tonight, recently, our family, my family, and my wife's family, had a death in the family. My wife's mother-in-law passed, my wife's mother passed away, my mother-in-law. And I would like to say thank you to everybody in Vernon Township for sending their condolences, cards and flowers. I appreciate it very much. My father-in-law passed away in November of last year, and it was a 6-month period between them two, and they were married 62 years. So it's, everybody has their thoughts about that. One will follow the other, and she went to sleep peacefully, and we should all be so lucky. So I just want to say thank you very much. Councilmember Murphy, you have any comments?
Yes. The, few months ago, I was looking for a list of assets from United Water, a clear one. Did that ever come?
Nope. We're still waiting on it. I've contacted them several times. We're scheduled to have a meeting with them in the very near future. I will pressure them again to do it. They're a bigger bureaucracy than we are, actually. Sometimes it's very tough to get a response.
No. That's it.
Councilmember Kadesh?
Well, I would like to thank you all for the support of the Narcan resolution. I think it's an important step in trying to save some lives. The second thing is just to clarify the MUA resolution that we discussed. It means that in the future, people who want to apply for it will send their resumes to the clerk's office, and then the council will make the choice as to who would be the people to be appointed, which is different.
I think that the township already has in place a volunteer application process, and I think that those need to be filled out regardless. This isn't, the
I agree with you.
appointment is made through the volunteer application process, and that's the way, and that's handled by the mayor's office.
No, actually, all applications, no matter what the board or commission is, goes to the clerk's office first.
Okay,
So Mr. Kadesh is absolutely right.
okay,
Let's continue with that process. The only difference is, rather than being shunted to the mayor's office for my review, it'll come to you
Okay, good enough,
for your review.
good enough. Is that it, Dan?
That's it.
I, too, would like to support the Narcan resolution. I know that the police department has been working on this for over a year now, and Chief Mills has assured us that this is all going to happen in good order. Like I had mentioned earlier, the training is going to consist of having 2 officers trained to train other officers in Vernon Township, which is actually called Train the Trainer. And I guess everyone would agree that if it saves one life, it was well worth it. Councilmember Rizzuto?
No comment.
Councilmember Wetzel?
Yeah, I'd like to compliment the Finance Department, and the mayor, and Elke for coming up with an interest rate that is well beyond expectations. If you can borrow money for under 0.5%, that is good economic planning. And as far as Narcan is concerned, I would like to include at some date the emergency rescue squads also in this program, if it be feasible.
That will be distributed through the police department at that point.
They already do.
Motion to adjourn?
Moved.
Second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.